Good morning. I'm glad you clicked on the video. This is worship style COVID-19, the only way that we can meet together. And what a thrill and what a privilege it is to gather as a church, no matter where we've come from. I just want to thank everyone for their prayers and their thoughts and the emails and the texts that I received. And Henry, we are so grateful to be back from Israel. We had actually a really wonderful trip. We learned so much and had great experiences as we walked with Jesus in the places where he was, and just gained a lot of understanding. And just so you know, the Old Testament's pretty important in terms of the things that Jesus said, and I hope to share some of those things with you as we continue meeting together. In the meantime, why don't we have a time of worship and just gather our hearts? I want to begin by reading Psalm 131. That'll be our focus for this morning. My heart is not proud, O Lord. My eyes are not haughty. I do not concern myself with great matters or things too wonderful for me, but I have stilled and quieted my soul. Like a weaned child with its mother, like a weaned child is my soul within me. Thus we put our hope in the Lord, both now and forevermore. What a great comfort that text is, and a reminder of our attitudes toward this COVID-19, to remain calm and quieted and to trust in God. I want to just share some thoughts this morning in relation to all of these kinds of things. You know, the other day as I was recovering from jet lag, just sitting on my couch and looking out the window, I couldn't help but notice all the birds that were fluttering around. I saw robins and red-winged blackbirds and mourning doves and so many more that I can't even identify because I'm not really a bird person. And what were they doing? They were pecking in the grass, finding food. They were gathering straw and twigs to make their nests. They were getting on with life. And of course, it reminded me of that wonderful text from Matthew 6, where Jesus talks about worrying. And there he says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about what you will wear or what you will eat or drink, or about your body. Is not life more important than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet their heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" Well, we know that we can't. We can't add on to our lives, and we can't even control so much, like COVID-19. And we're experiencing a time of bare minimums. You know, with public activities canceled and we find ways to do without. But there's beauty in that as well. We're spending more time with our families, although my kids currently aren't allowed to come because we're quarantined for 14 days, but we're having a great time on Facebook. We get a break from rushing around, and suddenly we began to realize that maybe we can do without more. Maybe we can do without all of that busyness and tight schedules. Life is good when it's not so full and rushed, and it may be a good time to consider how we might simplify our lives, not just because of COVID-19, but even afterwards. To simply step back and, as Psalm 131 says, be calm and quiet our souls and hope in God. Is to learn contentment and gratitude for the things that we do have. A missionary once related a story in terms of thankfulness. He was visiting a leper colony, and throughout the service, at one point, he asked the lepers to suggest songs. And one lady, turning around, shocked him greatly. She was, because of her leprosy, missing her ears, her nose, part of her cheekbone. Her lips were rotted. The missionary describes that he was just simply shocked at such a distorted face. The song she requested was, "Count your blessings and name them one by one." In the midst of these times, we too should count our blessings. We so readily tend to count our losses, and we tend to think about the things that we're afraid of and the what ifs, and what if finances go, and maybe even what if we lose a loved one because of this illness? What if we lose the things that we've worked so hard to gain? What if we're overwhelmed by loneliness because isolation isn't really that great? Max Lucado relates a conversation between a parishioner and his pastor. The parishioner, facing financial ruin, visits the minister and declares, "I've lost everything." The pastor replies, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Have you lost your faith?" No, I haven't lost my faith," says the parishioner. "Well, then I'm sad to hear that you lost your character." "I didn't say that. I didn't lose my character," replies the parishioner. "I am so sorry to hear then that you've lost your salvation." "Now that's not what I said. I haven't lost my salvation." The pastor looked intently at his parishioner and says, "So you have your faith, you have your character, you know you have your salvation. It seems to me that you've lost nothing that really matters." As followers of Jesus Christ, we know that we have a hope that is greater than our hardest circumstances. And I suspect that our isolation journey may take longer than we think, and many will face real hardships. But let us seek to count our blessings in the midst of it, at the start of each day, to defer our fears and to put our trust in God, because our Heavenly Father knows what we need. Looking at Psalm 131 again. "My heart is not proud, Lord, my eyes are not haughty." I encourage all of you to not be too proud to reach out if you need help. Give me a call, give your elders a call. Let us know how we can walk with you, encourage you, or help you if you're facing difficult challenges. "I do not concern myself with great matters or things too wonderful for me," says the psalmist. We have to confess we don't know what's coming. But God promises, "I am with you." So let's look to him for strength. "But I have calmed and quieted myself. I'm like a weaned child with its mother, a weaned child. I am content." Can we calm our fears as much as that is possible and look to trust deeper? Put your hope in the Lord now and forevermore. These are the things that God has promised us. He will be with us. He will provide. And maybe that provision doesn't always look like everything that we want, but he promises it will be everything that we need. Let's close in a prayer from Psalm 121. Dear Father, when we wonder where our help comes from, remind us that our help comes from you, the one who made the heavens and the earth. Our God, who watches over us, never slumbers nor sleeps. Remind us that you watch over us, and the sun will not harm us by the day, nor the moon by night, that you will keep us from all harm, that you will watch over our lives, both now and forevermore. Blessings, my friend, and I pray that together with all the saints who are struggling side by side, that you may have the power to know just how high and wide and deep and long the love of Christ is for you. Have a wonderful Sunday, and thanks for joining me.